A message has been delivered, not through ordinary means, not through whispers of this world, but from a realm far beyond. Archangel Michael has spoken, and the words he brings are not to be ignored. Something has taken place, a secret meeting held in the heavens. A gathering unlike any before, where destinies were discussed, and decisions were made that directly affect you and your family. Many have felt an unusual stirring lately, a restlessness in the spirit, a sudden heaviness in the air, a sense that something important is about to happen. It's not your imagination. You were meant to feel it. You were chosen to hear this message before it reaches others. Archangel Michael's message is not one of fear, but of awakening. You are being summoned to open your heart, to listen carefully, because what is about to be revealed may change everything you thought you knew about your future. He says that divine forces have convened, not for judgment, but for preparation. They have seen the path ahead, and they are sending this warning, this guidance, this call, directly to you. This meeting was held in silence, under the eternal light of truth. Records of this meeting are not written in books, nor recorded in time. They exist only in the realm of spirit, and today, that door opens for you. So listen closely. Every word you're about to hear has purpose. Every phrase carries energy. This message will find you at the right moment, the moment your spirit is ready to receive it. Archangel Michael says, this is not coincidence. This is calling. Your life, your protection, your blessings, they all depend on how you respond to this message today. Before we begin, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to this channel. Your engagement helps spread messages of light and protection to more souls who need to hear them. Now, let's begin with what truly happened in that secret meeting, and why it concerns you. Archangel Michael revealed that in the higher realms, a sacred assembly was called. Not every celestial being was allowed to attend, only those who have been appointed to guard, guide, and intervene in the matters of humankind. This meeting was not of war or punishment, but of preparation. It was held in a place beyond light and shadow, where truth alone exists. The energy was different, heavier than usual, because something extraordinary was being discussed, the shifting of destinies. Michael stood at the center, surrounded by other archangels, Raphael, Gabriel, Uriel, and others whose names are not known to man. Each of them carried scrolls, records of lives, families, and futures. Your name, and the names of your loved ones, were among them. The meeting began with silence. Then a question echoed through the realm: who among them is ready for change? Who among them will rise when the divine call is sent? Michael stepped forward and said, there is one whose spirit has been crying out, though their voice is quiet in the world. Their heart is heavy with questions, yet their faith has not faded. This message is for them. That one he spoke of is you. You may not remember the moment you were chosen, because it didn't happen here. It happened beyond time, in a decision made long before you were born. You were placed in this exact moment in history, with the exact challenges you're facing, for a divine reason. The assembly looked upon your life, your trials, your setbacks, your tears that no one else has seen. And they agreed that it is time. Time for the old patterns to break. Time for the cycle of delay, fear, and confusion to end. But before this transformation could begin, the heavenly record keepers needed permission, your permission. Nothing in the divine law moves against free will. That's why this message has reached you. Michael said, they must hear it directly. They must open it themselves. Only then can the divine plan unfold. That's why you are here now, listening to these words. The moment you decided to watch, to stay, to open this message, the process began. Heaven does not force miracles, it invites them. And the invitation is in your hands. Michael looked at the scroll in his hand, the record of your journey, and said softly, this soul has been tested, broken, and misunderstood, but still they rise. Still they choose hope. Still they believe in light. It is time they see what their faith has been preparing them for. Every angel in that meeting nodded. A divine seal was placed on your name, a sign that the heavens have recognized your endurance. Michael then declared, they must be told. They must be warned, and they must be prepared, because what comes next will change everything. The meeting concluded, but not before one final message was written, a message that traveled through the veil, through time, through energy, and reached you right now. You didn't stumble upon this message by chance. It found you because it was meant to. Archangel Michael says, you are not forgotten. You are being remembered by heaven. And this is only the beginning. Because what was revealed next, in the second part of that secret meeting, holds the reason your life has felt paused, delayed, or uncertain until now. When the heavenly meeting continued, a stillness filled the realm. Archangel Michael stepped forward once more, holding the ancient scroll that bore your name. The light surrounding him pulsed softly, like a heartbeat, steady, intentional, alive. He unrolled the scroll and said, this one has reached their turning point. The words carried weight, echoing through the gathering. The other archangels leaned closer, not out of curiosity, but out of reverence, because they knew what those words meant. A turning point is sacred. It's the moment when the universe pauses to allow destiny to shift. Michael looked upon your timeline, every hardship, every disappointment, every door that closed when you thought it would open. He saw the times you questioned, why me, and yet continued to stand. He saw the nights you cried in silence but still woke up determined to try again. And he said, their suffering has not been wasted. Their delay was divine. For what they thought was rejection was redirection toward purpose. Those who sat in the meeting nodded. They saw how your life had been a pattern of tests, not because you were forgotten, but because you were being prepared. There were seasons when you were stripped of things and people you thought you needed. But what you didn't see was that each loss cleared the path for what was meant for you. Michael lifted his gaze and declared, now the appointed time has come. In heaven's language, appointed time means that the waiting season has reached completion. It means that heaven's clock has struck the hour for manifestation, for something promised long ago to finally appear in your life. Yet, there was still a condition. The timing was perfect, but the readiness of your heart had to match it. Michael said, they must align. Their thoughts, their emotions, their faith, everything must rise to meet what's arriving. For no blessing can enter where fear still reigns. And so, the meeting shifted from discussion to decision. The archangels began to speak words over your life, declarations written not on paper but in light. Gabriel, the messenger of divine news, spoke first. Let them hear the call in their dreams. Let intuition guide them to where their next blessing waits. Raphael, the angel of healing, followed. Let their body and mind find rest. Let the pain of the past dissolve, so they can embrace what's ahead with clarity and peace. Uriel, the keeper of divine wisdom, added. Let insight flood their mind. When confusion tries to return, remind them that truth already lives within them. And finally, Michael raised his hand and said, let them be surrounded. Shield their home, guard their spirit, and protect their family. Let no dark force interfere with what heaven has planned. A surge of radiant light filled the assembly, a wave of power that marked the sealing of this new chapter in your life. From that moment, the energy around you began to change. You may have felt it already, strange coincidences, sudden urges to let go of certain things, or the sense that something big is near but not yet visible. That's the confirmation. The spiritual realm has already moved, now the physical is aligning. Michael said, the delay is over. But they must not doubt in the final hour. Heaven's timing is delicate. Just before breakthroughs, resistance often increases. It's the final test before the gates open. That's why lately, certain challenges may have felt heavier. That's not a sign of failure, it's a sign of arrival. The pressure you feel is the atmosphere shifting to make room for what's coming. Michael looked once more at your record and spoke these words. Tell them this, When they begin to trust even when they cannot see, when they choose peace instead of panic, doors will open that no man can close. He added, but they must not run back to what broke them. They must not return to the versions of themselves that were built in survival. For what is coming requires the strength of who they've become. The meeting fell silent again, but this time it was different. It wasn't the silence of waiting, it was the silence of completion. Something had shifted in the realm. The decision was made. Then a divine decree was written. Prepare them. They are about to walk into what was once only spoken. And that's why this message is finding you now. You are stepping into a divine alignment where the pieces finally begin to make sense, where every delay, every detour, every disappointment will soon reveal its hidden purpose. Michael wants you to understand, when you begin to release what's behind you, the regret, the guilt, the fear, the new blessings that have been waiting on the other side will find you without effort. The universe will start moving in your favor. People you thought forgot you will reach out. Opportunities that once passed you by will return, this time ready for you. Heaven's records show that your name has been marked with favor, a season of release, reward, and restoration. But Michael also warns, do not ignore this message. For timing, once missed, takes long to return. This is your confirmation. The secret meeting was not just about destiny, it was about activation. The moment you chose to listen, the light around your spirit responded. You are not waiting for the blessing anymore, it's waiting for your readiness. Michael said one last thing before the meeting moved forward. Tell them this, their family will feel the effect. Their household will shift. Even those who don't understand will be touched by the overflow of their obedience. Heaven has already begun its work. You may not see it yet, but the spiritual world is moving swiftly on your behalf. You are not behind schedule. You are right on time. And as this revelation unfolds, Michael says, prepare your heart. What comes next is bigger than you expect. As the meeting continued, the light in the great hall grew brighter. Each angel stood in quiet awe, for what was about to be revealed would affect not just one life, but many. Archangel Michael stood at the center, holding the scroll that carried your name and the names of those connected to you by blood, love, and destiny. Your family, your circle, those whose lives intertwine with yours every day. He looked around the assembly and said, every soul is connected to others through invisible threads of energy. When one rises, the others begin to rise as well. When one heals, the entire bloodline begins to change. This was the reason your name was called, not only for your own breakthrough, but because you were chosen as a restorer, the one appointed to bring balance and light back into your family line. Heaven saw that you've carried burdens that were never truly yours. Worries, fears, and cycles of lack or pain that began generations before you, and yet, you've been the one trying to end them. Every time you refused to give up, every time you prayed when you had no strength, something powerful was shifting in the unseen world. Michael declared, this one has broken patterns. They have faced what others could not face. They have stood when the weight of generations tried to bend them. Now, the blessing they call down will not end with them, it will flow into their family. At that moment, a great wave of light began to move outward from the center of the hall. Each beam of light represented a person connected to your energy, your family members, friends, and loved ones. Even those who have been distant, those who misunderstood you, those who hurt you, all began to receive fragments of the blessing released in your name. Michael said, forgiveness must come. Healing cannot move where resentment remains. Let their heart release what has kept them bound, for freedom opens when love is chosen. You may have noticed how lately, old emotions have surfaced, memories, dreams, or sudden feelings about people from your past. That's not random. That is the energy of release. Heaven is cleansing the ties that held your spirit down, making room for renewal in your home and in your relationships. Then Raphael, the angel of healing, stepped forward. He touched the scroll and said, let health and peace be restored to this family. Let every illness born of stress or sorrow begin to fade. Gabriel added, let communication return. Let truth and honesty be spoken in their home. Let reconciliation replace distance. And Michael said, let provision come where lack has ruled. Let their table be full, and their hearts grateful. The words became light, not metaphorical, but real spiritual light, flowing like rivers into the lives of those you love. Then Michael turned toward the higher throne and spoke once more, but they must be warned, with blessing comes responsibility. What they build now will set the tone for generations. Their words must carry wisdom. Their choices must carry truth. Heaven was not simply giving you a reward, it was giving you authority. You are now a carrier of change. The way you think, speak, and act will shift not just your own path, but that of your entire lineage. That's why, lately, life may feel intense, like everything you do suddenly matters more. Because it does. The energy around you has become sacred. You are no longer operating in ordinary timing, you are walking in divine alignment. Michael said softly, they will soon notice the signs. In their home, peace will return. In their family, conversations that once ended in conflict will begin to heal. And where there was financial struggle, unexpected opportunities will appear. He continued, tell them not to fear the changes they will soon see. Some relationships will fade away, but only because they were built on lessons, not destiny. Let them trust that what remains will be real, and what leaves will make room for the new. The scroll glowed once more. Images of your future unfolded before the assembly, not in detail, but in energy. A vision of light surrounding your household. A sense of stability returning where chaos once lived. Smiles replacing worry. Laughter echoing again where silence had settled. Michael smiled gently. Their future is not behind them, it is waiting just beyond their obedience. Then he looked directly into the light and said words that echoed through eternity. Tell them this, they were never meant to carry everything alone. Help is being sent. People will arrive, new connections, divine alignments, not by chance, but by command. Let them recognize the helpers I send, for each one carries a piece of their next chapter. The other archangels nodded in agreement. And then, one by one, they each wrote something in the air, blessings shaped like words of light. Peace over their home. Healing in their body. Clarity in their mind. Protection around their family. Provision in every need. As the final word was written, the meeting shifted again. A deeper truth was about to be revealed, not just about your family, but about the unseen forces that have been watching your path, both for good and for harm. Michael's face grew more serious. They must understand what has been trying to stop them, and why it will no longer succeed. And that begins in the next part. When the light dimmed in the heavenly hall, a quiet tension filled the air. The angels who had gathered knew what was coming next. Every blessing that is promised, every destiny that is released, always draws attention, not just from light, but from darkness as well. Archangel Michael raised his sword, the blade of divine truth, and said, before new light rises, old shadows must be exposed. He began to reveal what had been happening behind the scenes, the unseen resistance that surrounded your life. For years, you may have felt strange delays, sudden setbacks, unexpected disappointments right when things seemed close to breakthrough. Those were not coincidences. They were the fingerprints of interference. Michael explained that there are spiritual patterns, energies that attach themselves to pain, doubt, and fear. When a person begins to grow closer to their purpose, those energies sense the shift and try to create distraction. They make people turn against you without reason, close doors that were once open, or fill your mind with worry and confusion. But the meeting in heaven was called to end that cycle once and for all. Michael said, they have fought long enough. Every hidden resistance, every shadow assignment against them, is now being cut off. He lifted his sword high, and a sound like thunder rolled through the realms. The very vibrations of his authority shattered the illusions that had been built around your destiny. Every lie whispered to your mind, that you're not enough, that you've failed, that you're too late, began to dissolve in the presence of truth. Michael turned to the assembly and said, "They believed when everything said stop. They held on to hope when no one stood beside them. That faith has earned them freedom." Then he pointed toward the shadows beyond the hall, the remnants of fear and spiritual opposition. He declared, "Your assignment is over. This soul belongs to the light. You will not touch their mind, their peace, or their family ever again." At those words, the atmosphere shifted instantly. The chains that represented old fears broke. The ties that once connected you to people, memories, or energies that drained you, they snapped. Michael said, "Tell them they may feel lighter. They may notice silence where once there was noise. That is the sound of victory." He explained that what you've been sensing, the sleepless nights, the heavy energy, the emotional confusion, wasn't weakness. It was spiritual warfare, and you were enduring it like a warrior without even realizing it. But the meeting changed everything. From that moment, your name became protected by decree. Every attempt to block your progress was nullified. The forces that tried to create fear around your finances, your health, or your relationships were commanded to withdraw. Michael looked to the other archangels and said, "Place shields around them. When doubt tries to whisper, let faith answer louder. When fear tries to rise, let peace speak first." Raphael stepped forward again, extending his hands. "Let every wound that fear created now close completely. Let anxiety be replaced with calm, and exhaustion be replaced with strength." Gabriel added, "Let their inner voice become clear again. No longer shall confusion blur their direction. They will hear guidance with precision." Then Michael spoke again, "They must understand this, those who tried to harm them will not prevail. What was meant to destroy them will become the reason they rise. Every closed door will lead to something better, something sacred, something chosen." He paused, then continued, "Even people who turned away from them served a divine purpose. Some were never meant to go where they are going. Tell them to release resentment, it's time to move forward." The assembly bowed their heads. A new decree was spoken, no curse, no word spoken in anger, no plan of darkness shall have power over their future. And as the decree echoed through eternity, something beautiful happened. The record of your past pain began to transform. The moments that once caused you shame or regret started to glow, turning into symbols of strength. Heaven does not erase the past, it redeems it. Michael said softly, "They must stop seeing themselves as victims of life. They are victors of faith." He continued, "The forces that once targeted them will now serve as witnesses to their rise. Let them see what resilience looks like. Let them see that the one they tried to break has become unbreakable." Then he turned toward the scroll once more and touched your name. A new symbol appeared, a mark of completion, proof that the warfare surrounding your life had reached its end. Michael spoke gently but firmly, "Tell them they have nothing left to fear. The battle they thought they were fighting alone has already been won." He added, "When they begin to feel peace, they must not mistake it for emptiness. It is not silence, it is stability. They are entering a season of stillness before expansion." At that moment, the hall filled with a soft golden light, the light of restoration. Everything that had been stolen, delayed, or blocked began to move back toward alignment. Doors that were once locked started to open in the spiritual realm. Michael smiled for the first time since the meeting began. They have endured storms and stood firm. Now, tell them, the weather is changing. The light is returning. The energy of blessing has begun to flow freely again. And then he looked beyond the veil, toward your world, and said, "Soon, they will notice signs that their life is shifting. Messages in numbers, dreams that carry peace, encounters that confirm their path. Tell them not to dismiss these moments, they are reminders that heaven is near." He closed this part of the meeting with one final instruction: they must walk with confidence. They must act as if the victory has already happened, because it has. The power that once resisted them is gone. The space before them is clear. Then the light grew brighter, washing away every trace of shadow. And Michael said, "Prepare them for what comes next, the release of blessings. It's time they see the reward for their endurance." When the shadows faded and light once again filled the great hall, the atmosphere changed completely. What had begun as a gathering of concern and preparation was now turning into a celebration of fulfillment. Every angel in attendance could feel the shift. Something powerful had been completed, and something new was ready to begin. Archangel Michael lowered his sword. The blade that moments ago struck down fear now glowed softly, reflecting the light of divine promise. He looked down at the scroll in his hand, your name written across it, and said with quiet certainty, "It is time." The other archangels gathered closer, forming a circle of pure radiance. The scroll began to unfold by itself, stretching far beyond its physical length, revealing layers of blessing, promise, and opportunity that had been stored up for years, waiting for this exact moment to be released. Michael spoke. Every good thing that was delayed is now commanded to move forward. Every answered prayer that was held by timing is now set in motion. What they thought they lost will return multiplied. The assembly erupted in light. Each blessing began to take form as energy, waves of divine provision, healing, love, restoration, and clarity flowing from the center of the room outward, traveling across realms, reaching directly toward your life. Raphael stepped forward first. He raised his hands and declared, "Healing shall come not only to their body but to their heart. Let emotional wounds close where they once bled in silence. Let them wake with peace instead of pain." A soft green light spread from his palms, the color of healing energy, surrounding the image of your name. Then Gabriel spoke. "Let their voice return. Where fear once silenced them, let courage rise. Let them speak truth with power and grace. Let every creative gift within them flourish." The light around the scroll shimmered brighter, representing doors opening, doors to communication, opportunity, and influence. Next came Uriel, holding the flame of divine wisdom. He said, "Let them no longer walk in uncertainty. Let clarity be their constant companion. Every decision they make from this point forward shall be guided by light." The flame danced over your name, symbolizing the illumination of your path, that sense of knowing that comes not from logic but from divine insight. Then Michael raised his sword again, not for battle this time, but as a seal of authority. He said, "Let abundance return. Let provision overflow. Let their hands attract what they have been meant to build." And as he spoke, the atmosphere rippled. What had once felt blocked began to flow freely again. Ideas, resources, helpers, and new beginnings were being prepared in your physical world, not as miracles falling from the sky, but as divine alignments, people, and opportunities drawn toward your energy. Michael continued. "Tell them this, the blessings they are about to receive will not just comfort them, they will confirm them. The waiting was never punishment, it was preparation. Now, they are ready to hold what they once could only imagine." The angels surrounding the circle began to sing, not in words, but in tones that vibrated through creation. Each vibration represented a frequency of blessing, joy, peace, protection, love, wisdom, and strength, all imprinting themselves upon your destiny. Then Michael said, "For every tear they shed, let joy return sevenfold. For every night they endured in silence, let light rise within their mornings. For every door that closed, let 3 more open." The decree was sealed with golden light. But before sending this energy toward you, Michael turned to the gathering and said something that silenced the room. Before blessings manifest, the heart must be steady. For a gift received too early can be lost. They must learn to remain grounded in gratitude. He explained, "Tell them not to rush this process. It is already unfolding. Their faith is the key that turns potential into reality. Every moment they choose gratitude instead of fear, the the flow increases. Every time they trust instead of panic, doors open faster. The angels nodded. They understood. The release of blessing was not only an act of divine grace, it was a partnership. Heaven had moved, and now the human heart must align. Then Michael added, "The signs will come. Let them pay attention to the synchronicities, repeating numbers, unexpected messages, gentle confirmations. These are not coincidences. They are reminders that the gates have opened." He smiled and looked into the distance, seeing through the veil that separates realms. Some blessings will come quietly, a message, a new friend, an inner peace that suddenly replaces anxiety. Others will come with magnitude, a breakthrough so clear that even those who doubted will stand in awe. Then he gave one last instruction to the assembly. Assign guardians to their household. Let the light remain. Let this new energy be protected from the shadows of doubt or negativity. Let peace remain wherever they go. Immediately, angels were dispatched, each carrying a portion of the light that had been generated in the hall. They traveled like streaks of gold through the spiritual expanse, each one carrying a message, a miracle, a moment of divine orchestration that would soon reach your life. Michael watched them go, then turned back to the scroll. He spoke the final decree. This blessing shall not fade. It shall multiply through their actions, through their words, through their faith. What they touch will prosper, what they build will stand. He rolled the scroll and placed a final seal upon it, the seal of completion. Then he looked to the assembly and said, "The time of waiting is over. The time of walking in blessing has begun." The room erupted with radiant light. The angels rejoiced, not because something ended, but because something holy had begun. And as that light reached the world below, your world, Archangel Michael spoke one last promise. They will soon see the evidence. They will know that heaven heard them. And when they do, tell them to give thanks, to share what they've learned, to become the messenger for others still waiting. For this is how the chain continues, one awakened soul lighting the path for another. The great hall of light was now calm again. The waves of energy that had carried your blessings toward the earth had begun their journey, and a quiet peace settled over the assembly. Yet Archangel Michael remained standing, his gaze fixed beyond the veil, beyond time, beyond space, watching over you. He turned back to the gathering and said, "It is not enough for them to receive. They must now become a carrier of what they've received. Every gift from heaven carries a purpose. Every blessing is an assignment." The words rang clear and strong. Heaven had not chosen you only to be comforted, you were chosen to create change. The strength you've gained from every trial, the faith you built through every storm, those were not accidents. They were training. You were being prepared to stand as a light in places where hope has dimmed. Michael spoke again. Their life will become a message. Their words, even when spoken softly, will begin to awaken others. Tell them not to underestimate the power of their presence. Every kind act, every prayer, every gesture of hope, all of it ripples through creation. He looked toward Raphael, who stepped forward and said, "Let them use their healing not only for themselves, but for those around them. Let compassion guide their actions, for love is the language heaven understands most." Gabriel added, "Let them speak truth without fear. Let them share what they've learned through experience. Many will be comforted by their honesty." Then Michael said, "They are being called to walk as a bridge, between the unseen and the seen, between faith and action, between waiting and fulfillment." He explained that your divine assignment isn't about doing something extraordinary in the world's eyes, it's about being consistent in light, no matter where you stand. When you choose kindness where there could be anger, when you choose patience instead of frustration, when you choose faith instead of fear, you shift entire energies, not only for yourself but for everyone connected to you. Heaven recognizes that kind of power. That's why the meeting was called. You are being entrusted with more, not because you are perfect, but because you are willing. Michael said softly, "Tell them to remember this, their faith has already opened the door. Now, their actions will keep it open. Then, a table of light appeared before the assembly, covered with symbols representing your next season: an open book, a flame, a golden key, and a small seed. Michael pointed to each and explained their meaning. The open book, this represents knowledge. New understanding will come. They must not fear change or new direction. Let them trust what they feel guided to learn. The flame, this is passion. Their creativity, their purpose, the things that make them come alive, all of these are divine tools. They must not bury them out of doubt. The golden key, this is access. Doors that were closed will open. Opportunities that seemed impossible will appear. Let them walk boldly, fear will only delay what is already promised. The seed, this is the reminder that blessings grow through action. Let them sow goodness, patience, and gratitude daily, for these will multiply. Michael turned to the gathering once more and declared, "The world is entering a time of awakening. Those who carry light will be needed more than ever. Tell them to stand firm. They were chosen because they are strong enough to endure and gentle enough to guide." He paused, and the entire hall fell silent. Then he said the words that would end the meeting. Their journey from struggle to strength has been seen. Their faith has moved mountains. Now, let them walk in purpose. Let them no longer wait for a sign, they are the sign. With that, the golden scroll began to fold, its light merging into the air. The angels bowed their heads in reverence. The decree was complete. As Michael turned back toward your world, his final words were filled with authority and grace. Tell them this: the same power that protected them through storms will guide them in peace. They are surrounded. They are chosen. And they are never alone. He raised his sword once more, not for battle, but as a blessing. The light from its edge flowed through dimensions until it reached you, surrounding your life, your family, your home, your path. Michael whispered, "They will notice a shift within days. Their mind will clear. Their heart will rest. The right people will appear. Let them trust what unfolds." Then the meeting dissolved into radiance, the kind of stillness that feels like love itself. The angels departed to fulfill their tasks, carrying the blessings they had spoken. And in that sacred moment, your new season began. You are now walking under open heavens, guided, protected, and equipped. Archangel Michael's message is complete, but his presence remains. So as you step forward from this moment, remember his final instruction. Live as one who has already been chosen. Speak light. Walk in gratitude. And keep your faith unshaken, for heaven has already spoken your victory. If this message touched your spirit, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone you love, and subscribe to this channel so you never miss another divine message meant for your journey. Write in the comments, "I receive my divine assignment," as a declaration that you accept this season of blessings and purpose. Your new beginning has already started.